YouTube, we back with another video, you know what I'm saying? Every disease that gives you superpowers explained in 60 minutes. Now we all know that at least one time in our life, we've all wanted some type of superpower. I wish superpowers were real. I would definitely be a hero. A lot of people be anti-heroes or villains, or you already know, bruh. The boys. We're gonna be like the boys, bro. Like most likely it's gonna be like the boys, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be like comics, but people are gonna, bro, whatever. We all know at one point in our life we want superpowers. And I'm gonna see what type of diseases gives us superpowers. Maybe I can get one of those diseases. I'm just playing. Unless it's HIV gives you some crazy ass dick laser. I'm tripping. Let's get to the video.
Polymelia is a rare genetic mutation that causes a person to be born with more than the usual limbs, even though in most cases, the extra ones are deformed, shrunk, or completely useless. However, this wasn't the case for Deepak Paswan in India. He was born with 4 completely functional.
Oh my god. But why right here? Ugh. It's kind of nasty. Man, you know he'd be crazy in a fight though. He said all of his limbs were functioning. Were like good, or like how could you even get reach on this guy? Because his legs would just keep you at bay like a spear or something. No, damn. And you can't really knock him on his stomach. Like if you hit him from behind and he tries to fall over, I mean he got legs right there to keep him up too.
Arms and 4 completely functional legs, which caused pilgrims to come to him from all over India and worship him, as Hindu religions often depict deities as having multiple
4 arms
limbs.
and 4
Eventually,
legs?
though, scientists figured out that the extra limbs came from a parasitic twin that hadn't developed in the womb and somehow fused with him. The extra limbs also weren't fully controlled by him, as they randomly moved, so they just decided to remove them, enabling him to live a normal life. Myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. This disease gives super strength.
What's the twin like? Oh, hell no. That's kind of weird. Ugh. I don't know if I want that. I ain't gonna lie. That's bad. I mean, I wouldn't want any of these, by the way. I'm just saying. But MRMH, physical strength or super strength.
As affected people have over twice the usual muscle mass of the average human. It's caused by a mutation of the MSTN gene, which is usually responsible for limiting muscle growth, but in this disease, it doesn't properly work. A famous example of this disease is Liam Hoekstra, who's been jacked since he was a kid and could do a pull-up at 8 months old, had a six-pack at 3 years old, and could lift 3-kilogram dumbbells with his arm fully extended at just 3 years old. It's one of the only diseases on this list with no known medical complication. Hyperthymetic syndrome.
Why would you not want that? I mean, I guess I would want that right now. Bro, imagine. Oh my god. Just imagine lifting up 100-pound dumbbells like this. Oh my goodness. That's fire.
This disease enables people to remember huge amounts of relatively random information, basically giving them super memory.
Photographic memory. Suits. Mike. If you know, you know, ball. This is fire. I wish I had this, bro. Cause I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, this shit is cool. I ain't gonna lie. I wish I had this.
However, there's a catch. They can't choose what they remember, so they might remember what they ate on a random day, but they might forget what they studied for their next exam. Matter of fact, some say that hyperthymetic individuals appear to have poorer than average memory when they actually actively try to remember something. They describe their memories as uncontrollable associations.
Bruh. Man, I got this. What type of... This ain't no superpower. This sucks.
For example, when they see a date, they see a vivid depiction of that day in their heads without hesitation or conscious effort. Unfortunately, this disease can make it difficult to sustain long-term relationships and can cause loneliness. People with hyperthymesia also have difficulties letting go of difficult events or traumatic memories, which can stay with them for life. Fortunately,
this
though,
just seems regular.
Extraordinarily rare, with fewer than 100 people in the world having been diagnosed with it. Stone Man syndrome. Also known
The
as
fuck?
fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva, this disease
Wow,
allows
that
people
is
to
a mouthful.
regenerate damaged body parts with bones instead of the original damaged part. For example, if a person with this disease injured his biceps instead of new muscle tissue, he would grow bone tissue. It is the
Oh, that
only
wouldn't be
known
good
medical
though.
condition where one organ system changes into another, and it ultimately leaves sufferers immobilized as new
Yeah,
bone
I was about to
replaces
say that. That's
musculature and
not good.
fuses with the existing skeleton, which is why it's called Stone
Whoa.
Man syndrome. Unfortunately, this disease is almost always deadly. The superficial
Yeah.
bones aren't even removable, as if they're cut more will appear when it regenerates. Savant syndrome. This disorder, which
Ah.
is sometimes paired with autism,
Bro, you wouldn't even be able to go outside, do nothing, because, bro, the second you get hit, injured, cut, I mean, damn, yeah, you couldn't do nothing, dude. Bro, if you get a little scratch, bro, you telling me a piece of bone would just grow right here on my arm? That would suck. Ooh. Nah, yeah, that seems terrible. I don't know why would anybody want that.
and Asperger's makes the patient extremely talented at a variety of tasks, such as calculations, drawing, painting, cartography, and much more. As an example of how incredible this might get, Stephen Wiltshire, a man who was diagnosed with savant syndrome, was able to draw a precise map of London after flying over it just once. However, people with
Oh,
savant
this the
syndrome are
photographic
usually
memory.
really good at one specific task, but lack social skills. Congenital
Bro.
insensitivity to pain. An estimated 1 in
Hey,
every
Zoro, my goat.
25,000 people suffers from this genetic condition, which completely shuts off the pain signaling pathways, as
That's
patients have a
crazy.
mutation of this gene, which is supposed to develop
They made a movie
pain-sensing
about this,
nerve
by the way.
cells. People with it usually can't know or understand what pain feels like
I
or
look
really
you.
is, even though they can
I look you'd want that, but the only scary thing is, I mean, could you feel anything? I mean, like, like, would you be able to feel like touch? I guess you would, right? It's just pain. It's just pain you wouldn't be able to feel. Yeah, why wouldn't anybody want that? I mean, but you would never know if you're hurt though. Like, what if one day you woke up with a bad back? You wouldn't know that, huh? Mm. Or you just know something's wrong in your body. Yeah, you just wouldn't know. Ugh, I don't know. That's a 50-50 for me right there.
feel emotional pain or touch. Even though this
Oh,
might
you
seem
can't feel
amazing,
touch. Never
it's
mind.
important to note that pain is one of the most important survival tools, and people
Yeah.
with this condition usually die in their childhood as they injure themselves without knowing it. For some reason, there's a village in Sweden called Vittangi, which has an out-of-the-order amount of people suffering from this disease. Tetrachromacy. If you tried to imagine a new color, you wouldn't be able to. Your brain would just glitch. People with
Cap.
tetrachromacy however, don't have to imagine new colors because they actually see them. Humans' eyes have 3 types of cone cells, which enable us to see a part of the light spectrum, while some other animals, especially birds, fishes, and reptiles, have 4. This means that the organism may see wavelengths beyond those of a typical human's vision, and may be able to distinguish between colors that, to a normal human, appear to be identical. In humans, tetrachromacy is extremely rare, to the point that some don't even believe it exists, but there was one account where a woman was found to have an additional cone type, which was a sort of intermediate between M and L. Trichodento-osseous syndrome.
How would you even get
This
that though?
disease, which affects only a couple thousand people worldwide, basically gives people indestructible and super dense bones, so much so that they've reportedly been able to break baseball bats and withstand car crashes. This happens because they have a mutation in the DLX3 gene, which works on bone
Damn.
density. However, there are some bad drawbacks, such
Wait.
as having teeth that break painfully and easily, having brittle nails, and having dry, curly, and flaky hair. As a fun fact,
Oh,
it's
okay.
being studied as a potential cure for osteoporosis, which affects the elderly by increasing their chances of breaking their bones, sometimes causing death. Hyperlexia. If a kid between the age of 2 and 4 years old is able to read everything perfectly, and he's obsessed by numbers or letters, he might have hyperlexia, which is a syndrome characterized by a child's precocious ability to read. The
Is that
problem
good?
with this, however, is that it's basically fake reading, as they're able to
How?
say out loud the words on a piece of paper, but they're unable to understand what they're reading. The cause is still unknown, but it's thought that it has a certain overlap with autism, with some claiming that about 84% of hyperlexic kids suffer from autism as well.
Oh,
Vampire syndrome.
damn.
Also known as
Never mind.
hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, it gives
Vampire
affected people
syndrome?
pointed teeth and pale skin, and they're usually very thin, with eyes outlined with dark circles and with no hair. While looking like a vampire might sound cool to some, people with this disease have to constantly check their temperature and stay away from the sun, as they don't have sweat glands that can keep their internal temperature stable when it gets hotter. As an
Oh
example,
man, you're a
famous
loser.
actor Michael Berryman has this disorder. If you want to discuss this video or
Huh.
suggest an idea for the next one, join my Discord. Link in the description.
Which one of those would you guys have? I think I'd want the muscle one. I think that one's the best. The muscle one. I mean, you just can't go wrong with that. I mean, that's the best disease that I would want to have if I was to choose any one of these diseases. I think the second one would probably be um the super smart one, but they said your social skills suck. I don't know which one it was. This one. I would choose that one too. That would be my second one, but the muscle one just seems like the best one, bro. Even though I really don't need it. You know what I mean? But yeah. Appreciate y'all boys for watching.